Hello and welcome to the Catch a Lift Coaches Corner. I'm Cal head coach Melissa Luke, and this week I'm honored to welcome retired U.S. Navy veteran, Cal veteran athlete, and founder of Willpower Athletes to the show, Will Triplett. Welcome for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule today to interview me, and we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. We're so excited. Let's hop right into it, Will. Let's start out by, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your life growing up?
Yeah, so my life growing up was with family. We're big on family, but my family is a big military family. My dad, U.S. Army, and I had brothers who was in the Army, and I have two brothers who was in the Navy. But it was basically hard work, ethics, never give up, and have the will or believe that you can do anything you put your mind to. And that's where kind of willpower come from. I can, I will, and I will be successful.
That's terrific. Thank you for sharing that with us, Will. So like you mentioned, you came from a strong military family. What was it that drove you into the Navy?
One of the things that drove me in the Navy, I'm originally from Mississippi, and one particular day I was sitting in the auditorium, and we had a Navy officer come in and basically gave us a presentation on the Navy. And he talked about you would have a chance to travel the world, and I wanted to go to different places, and I heard they had ships, and also my next to the oldest brother, he was in the Navy and he was stationed in Guam at the time. And he told me the stories about as far as you get the PT, and not only that, you could get a free education. So I was able to complete 3 college degrees while I was in the Navy.
Wow.
And just with all those particular benefits, I was like,
Right.
yeah, of course, I'm ready to go. Send me next. So that was the reasons I decided to join.
Okay. Well, those are pretty good reasons, Will. What year did you enlist?
Back in 1991, August the 18th, 1991.
Okay. So why don't you talk to us about kind of those early years in the Navy for you?
So my early years in the Navy was basically understanding the dynamics, right? Meaning that understanding what do I need to be successful, right? And a lot of people they join organizations, and one of the things I was always taught to understand the organization, get you a mentor,
Right.
and once you get that mentor, you can ask all the questions you want as far as how should I look in uniform,
Right.
or what should I be focusing on? How do I make rank? Where do I save money, or where do I invest my money, or what dealerships I should go to? But I was basically paired with a mentor to be able to give me a roadmap, and that's what I tell everybody. If you want to be successful in life, don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
The roadmap or the blueprint has already been created. You just have to
Right.
find somebody who understands the organization. And once you understand the organization, then you start executing your plan, kind of like a strategic plan.
That's so terrific. And time and time again, we'll hear people say that, the importance of a mentor, as you're regardless of kind of the life path that you are taking. So, Will, you had this mentor early on in your Navy career. How did that see you through your career as you continued to progress in the Navy?
Yes, it's. I saw it in a lot of ways, and the first way I saw it in when a challenge came up, and it's almost like training in the military or whether we're in school. If you're training, and when you hit a bump in the road, your training comes out. So I was able to align that training to whatever obstacle that I'm working on. And what it did, it helped me to look back at what I'm doing. I used to teach this course. It was called Emotional Intelligence, and it talks about being aware of your surroundings and understanding people and understand the dynamics. And once you are able to understand all of that, then you can put your best foot forward.
Very cool. Will, talk to us about, some of the, you served 20 years in the Navy. Talk to us about some of the deployments and, some of those experiences that you went through.
So I would say my first deployment was back in 1993. And I was on board the USS Guam. And this particular deployment is where I really got my leadership and being able to understand the Navy. The ship mission was a landing platform helo. So we had 1,500 Marines on there. We had 700 sailors. And our main mission was to basically go up on the beach and drop the deck of the ship so the Marines could go out on the land and they could come back and take care of the land or whatever.
Okay.
And one of the things we would have like a gunny sergeant on there, and I would go out and I'll talk to him. We're like, hey, I'm trying to understand what you're doing, da 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 da. And just from those basic talks on the ship and understanding the Marine dynamics and understanding how Navy works with the Marines, my particular job was a hospital corpsman.
Okay.
And a hospital corpsman is like the medic for the Marine Corps. So we had to take care of the Marines if they went out like on a hump or if they were PTing. And also we had to take care of all the sailors on the Navy ship. And by dealing with all of them, what that taught me is in life, whether you're in business, whether it's catch a lift or Cal or whatever, the most important thing we could do as a leader or a person or an individual is continue to build relationships because you never know who you might need later because you could be out in town or you could be out on the ship or either when we would go overseas, we would be in the buddy system. And when they would see me, because they would see me in medical or whatever, they were like, hey, doc, how's it going?
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. I say, everything's good, everything good. And that's a way, one of the things we have to do is always check in with each other. But by being on the ship, by working with the sailors, working with the Marines, we were able to build that relationship and we check on each other today as far as our careers or families or whatever we might be working with.
Wow, yeah, that sense of community is so very important, and we're definitely that's going to be a theme here for the show that we're going to keep kind of doubling back to for sure.
No problem. We'll roll with it.
We definitely will. So talk to us a bit about being a Navy chief.
So one of the things about being a Navy chief is I would say is one of the most prestigious honors. And the reason why is you can change somebody's life, right? So if I think sometimes when people are in different positions, you could do a whole lot of things. But when you have a chance, when a sailor comes in the Navy and they're bright eyed, they could be 16 or 17 years old. And what they're doing, they're looking to you for guidance, right? Okay, chief, what should I do? What are some of the things I shouldn't do? And basically, I was in that same position before.
Yeah.
17 years old, coming from a small place called Kilmichael, Mississippi. Population 750 people. No stoplights. 20 stop signs, for example. But I was looking to the chief for advice. And the chiefs, they were able to guide me, not only just guide me in the right directions, but being able to understand the Navy, like we said in the beginning, because when they go to the chief in the Navy, they depend on the chief for everything, whether it's officers, whether it's the colonels or either the admirals in the Navy. They look to the chief for advice. And one of the things through our training or through our, we would call it leadership academy, we are put in some difficult situations. And these situations train us on how to lead people. Like, for example, I could give you a little example. We could be standing on one leg and they would bring the bricks to us, for example, right? And in this particular training, they'll bring like 3 bricks in the right hand, 4 bricks in the other, and they keep bringing the bricks to you. And all of a sudden, they're going to say, what are you going to do? And some people in their mind, right, they're trying to hold everything up. But one of the things they teach us as being a Navy chief is we have to be able to use our resources and we have to ask for help. And because we are the smartest people in the room sometimes, we have to ask for help and we have to
Yeah.
surround ourselves with people. But being in those positions in that chief training and being able to change somebody's life by being in a leadership position, and you see them as an E1 and they could go to an E9, or either they can go from an O1 all the way to the top, and you look back and I had a one of my sailors called me last week, and he's a chief petty officer now in the Navy, and just getting that joy with somebody calling you, look back, oh, I remember you when you were here at this stage.
Yeah.
But just being able to impart in people's lives and be able to, you see their success, and that's my gratification. That's my benefit to them.
Wow, that's just absolutely tremendous. Thank you for kind of taking us through that, Will. Looking back over that career in the Navy, that you had, do you have a fondest memory or something you really, really stands out to you out of those years?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of memories, but I think my fondest memory is achieving the rank of chief petty officer. And and it takes a lot to get to it because it's definitely a challenge, and they pick the best out of the best. So
Yeah.
I could say, for example, 20,000 people went up. Only, we would say, 5 to 600,000, not 5 to 600,000, 4 to 500 people would
Wow.
make it out of
Yeah.
20,000. And just going through the process and understanding the history of a Navy chief, the tradition, and we're able to reach back into our chief toolbox, and we could reach out to chiefs who retired over 20 years ago. But just being in that community and being able to talk to the different chiefs, and then also being able to be connected to Navy veterans.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome, Will. So very cool. Thank you so much for your service to our great country. Just
Yes.
tremendous. Will, talk to us about that time for you transitioning out of the Navy after that long career. What was that like for you?
So my transition out of the Navy, and a lot of people, they were like, "Well, I don't believe you when you say this." So one of the things is I was mentored by a Navy chief, and I was also mentored by a Navy nurse. And when I was at my first duty station, her name was Lieutenant Palomo, and she said, "Trippy." They used to call me Trippy, right? I worked in the surgery clinic in Orlando. She said, "No matter how far you go, make sure you always get educated." So before I started getting out of the Navy, I would say maybe around my 10 or 12 year mark, I started working on my undergraduate degree. So I completed that while I was in, and then I completed my master's degree, and I started working on my doctorate at the time. And and the way I prepared and helped with the transitions before I got out of the Navy, I started going to job fairs. I was attending different conferences. I was the president of Toast Masters International public speaking, and that prepared me to transition. And yeah, of course, I was afraid because I did this for 20 years.
Right.
And I was like, I'm
Right.
getting ready to go into a different environment. I'm used to all of this camaraderie.
Right.
And when I went into the private sector, it was it was a little challenging because the only challenge was me to me was basically was the terminology. Like, we use different military terms.
For sure.
But
Right.
once I understood, I said they're really saying the same thing. If I say wall in the Navy, we're saying bulkhead, or either in the Navy, they or the Army, they would say high speed tracking or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
But once I learned the terminology, and go back to, again, the most important thing, whether you're in the military or if you're in the private sector, you need a mentor to be able to go to the next level, because you're only as smart as the people around you. If you want to know your future, look at the people around you.
Yeah.
That's where you'll go.
Yeah. So, like you said, Will, you did a lot of preparation before you even got out of the Navy. You did an undergrad, you did, your master's work, you were going to job fairs. What did you pursue then once you were out of the Navy?
So once I got out the Navy, I started teaching in college. Um, I teach at the University of Maryland, and also other things I started pursuing is just focusing on my craft, right? looking at what particular area. And I know I was good at leading people, but because I was in the healthcare field, I got into healthcare informatics, and then it turned into information technology and cybersecurity. So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
currently, writing different articles on cybersecurity. A lot of military people are in healthcare, and they're also in information technology and cybersecurity
Yeah.
because we need that leadership style. Nowhere in the world that we have the most perfect training than the military,
Right.
because
Right.
the number one thing, we know how to lead people. The second thing, we know how to talk to people, and we know how to motivate people in a group to be successful. But I concentrated in a lot of different areas, but I found out that I'm good in leading and information technology, and that's my skill set.
Very, very cool, Will. So awesome. So I know another big part, of kind of your transition and story is your fitness. You know, talk to us about, your fitness post Navy. What did that look like for you?
Yeah, so my fitness post Navy, because I worked out over 20 years, whether we're doing PFTs, push ups, sit ups. And when I got out of the Navy, I wanted to still have that connection to the military, right? But I have to find something so where I can continue to look good, stay in shape.
Right.
And I got into running 5Ks, 10Ks. Then I went to half marathons, and I went to marathons. And one of the things I noticed, in order to, in order to train, in order to be good at what you do, you have to have a commitment, right? And you have to do it constantly. So I
Right.
joined a running club, and with this running club, they had different training plans where I could look at kind of like the PRT or the PFT. So once I started looking at that training plan, I committed to it. I said, all right,
Right.
I'm gonna continue to do it, and until I can get through a 5K or a 10K. And I was able to master some of that training by continue to stick to my training plan. So I just joined a running club.
How did that kind of help bridge that gap with you from like the camaraderie you had while in the military, and then we get out and it's like, we lose that tight tribe, that camaraderie that we had while in service. How did, joining that running group, and starting to train with like-minded people, what did that do for that camaraderie you lost from the military?
Well, I'm kind of glad you asked that question. One of the things we do in the military, when we travel a lot and we get to meet people, but once I got into that running club, come to find out, as we say, it's a small world.
It is.
It
Yep.
was a couple people in the Navy, it people in the Army, Marines. We wasn't stationed in the same area, but we were able to talk about our experiences. And the people who wasn't in the military were like, "Wow, you really did that? You went to these places?" But it was basically a place where that I could talk to like-minded people who
Yeah.
had my personal experiences, and also I was able to talk to people who have a different perspective, because uh, I believe in we should always expand on our perspective, because exposure can get you to look from a different perspective. But I mean, we talked about running, we talked about life, we talked about family,
Yeah.
and we even talked about running the first marathon, because I was like, I don't know if I could do that. And one particular gentleman said, and also it was a lady said, "Hey, you can do it. You just train." But we talked about a lot of things, and eating healthy and different things like that to get to where I'm at today.
That's tremendous. Overall, how would you say that fitness has, aided in your recovery, Will?
So it has aided in my recovery a number of ways. The first thing, it gives me, peace of mind, comfort. It's almost like you eat a hamburger, right? And you like, I go out and work, right? But I try not to eat a hamburger.
Yeah.
I have peace of mind. But as far as when I'm running, the comfort, this is where all my strategy come from. This is where I created willpower athletes. This is how I think about building relationships, like we're talking
Yeah.
on this podcast right now. And I think about my future as far as, okay, this is what I'm working on. How can I align this? And not only that, I'm looking within to make myself better where I'm running, or either we look at different gaps. And one of the things I found out as a leader, right? We have to be able to look at, the areas we need to improve. But when I'm running, I can look at those areas and say, hey, I did this today, but I could do this better. Maybe I
Yeah.
might need to reach out to this person, but it helps me in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Fitness it's such a incredible catalyst, not only for healing for veterans, but also for our personal growth for so many reasons, you know?
Yes.
Um, Will, what have you taken from that time as a Navy chief? And, we'll broaden this out in a minute and talk about willpower athletes and stuff, but just, you specifically with your individual training and running, what do you take from that time as a chief and apply now to your individual training and athletic performances?
So I take three things. One of the things we always go by as a Navy chief is honor, courage, and commitment. So no matter what you do, right? Um, when I walk out that door as a Navy chief or willpower, I'm honoring the the military, and I'm honoring myself, right? But then the commitment come in as when I get up in the morning. Like when I got up this morning, I was like, I really don't want to do this 10 miles.
Yeah.
But if you want to be successful, you have to commit to everything. You have to do, and I was thinking about this yesterday. You have to keep doing the same thing over and over until you see results. And even when you slack off, you got to keep going, right? And the third part is the courage, right? So the courage part is I have to step in a lane that nobody else ever stepped in before, right? And and we have all these Navy chiefs that they're lifting me up, or either people I meet in my running club, or either with Catch a Lift, or even you. So when I talk to people, I get this synergy, or this motivation, or this empowerment to keep going no matter what it takes.
That is absolutely wonderfully said, Will. And I want to kind of piggyback off that a minute, and kind of get your opinion. So, talking about, fitness, or regardless of what people are pursuing with their fitness, you get through times and, you might be very dedicated and you might be disciplined. And let's just take running for a minute here, and you've committed to it. You're following the plan, but you're not seeing the results, and people start to get kind of frustrated at that point. What advice do you have for people, where they're committed, they're being disciplined, but they're not seeing those results yet? How do you continue to endure and kind of persevere through that, Will?
Yeah, so one of the things is we talked about it before is you have to get like-minded individuals in your circle, and you have to have somebody who, like we talked to mentor, right?
Yeah.
Someone have to tell you the truth when you want to hear it and when you don't want to hear it, and you have to stick to a schedule. Some of the things I have to see things tangible, or either you put a calendar up, okay, check this part off, but you have to have something where you can see where you're going. If you want to know where somebody is going, right? Like I said, you look at the people
Yeah.
who are around them. You put things in place to remind you. You read up on different techniques to make you better. And the number one thing you have to understand, you never know what you are capable of until you are challenged. And some people are only challenged when they come out of their comfort zone. So, and sometimes that's what it takes when I'm training or running. When I get to mile 13, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to quit. But
Yeah.
because the training we talked about before is when I'm preparing for it, when I want to quit, something in my mind say, hey, you got to keep going no matter what it takes. And that's the piece everybody has to put in place to make sure they can keep going no matter what it takes.
That's tremendous. Will, why don't you talk to us about willpower athletes and why you created it?
So, Willpower Athlete, it's a virtual running series, and one of the reasons I created it is because willpower, and kind of like what we talked about a few minutes ago. We have the will to do whatever we want to. We just have to have the determination in our mind to keep going and never quit. And willpower was basically created out of the need during the pandemic. So I was looking around and I was like, oh my gosh, all the running has stopped. So,
Yeah.
what can I put in place? And one day I was running and I said, oh, we could put like a virtual challenge in place so that you don't have to go to a start line and you can run from your house. And with willpower athletes, we have these different challenges. The first challenge is called the battle buddy, and kind of what we were talking about. We have to hold ourselves accountable, and this is in these challenges, you get a medal, you get a T-shirt, and the second one is I got your six, meaning that we're holding each other accountable as far as with the running. And the other one is what we talked about when you get frustrated and you're not sticking to the schedule. It's called in the trenches. So when we were in the trenches, whether I'm in Kuwait, whether I'm in Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever, uh, these challenges bring people together. Whether you're in the military community or whether if you just want to run to support your family, but these things help me be able to get to the next level and to be able to do what willpower mission is called to do.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Will, how is coaching others and staying in touch with the other athletes help you to move forward during this challenging, well, really, we're past, 2020, 2021.
Yeah, it helps me by understanding people. And some of the gaps, what we talked about is you can have a person who could run pretty fast and they think they could run the long ways. And then when I first ran my first marathon, I was trailing this young lady and I was like, oh, I can keep up with her. Man, when I got to mile 20, uh willpower legs hit a wall,
Yeah.
and it taught me that, hey, you really have to understand your body and you have to understand people. And I talked about the course emotional intelligence, being able to understand people. And once you understand, just because a person runs fast, you have to show them, okay, you have to train. So in training for a marathon or whatever, you have to do like track workout. So you have to do a couple laps and then you have to implement or increment your long runs in there. And then you have to like do a day of relaxing. But once I understood all of that and understanding running as a coach, I
Yeah.
was able to put those different things I learned to help people run and to be better. And not only it helped them as an individual, but it helped me to understand my body. Okay, Will, you're running too fast. You need to slow down. If you want to run a 3:38 marathon, you really, really have to pay attention to your
Yeah.
body. And then the people in the running club, they push me up too, as far as running with Montgomery County Road Runners. So I take a lot of things from different, people as a coach, and I apply them in every situation.
Will, what's been the response like to the virtual challenges that Willpower Athletes has been putting out over the past year?
So the response to it has been absolutely outstanding. Before I started it, I reached out to the USO, I reached out to the Fisher House, I reached out to DAV, Catch a Lift, and I shared to them my actual vision as far as the challenges, and also with Montgomery County Road Runners, and also with DC Road Runners. And it, they're really, really glad that something like this is in place to address the challenges.
Yeah.
Yes, we're almost, and I'm believing we're coming out of
Right.
the pandemic, but because of what happened during the pandemic, people they really wanted to run and be able to have different challenges, and also to get some bling, the medals or T-shirts. But just great news from it. And what I always do is I incorporate feedback and as far as the races or whatever on how to improve for the next. So next year we'll have different challenges as well, but we'll take the feedback and also the improvements to move forward. So willpower to continue to get better and bring on more challenges or races.
Excellent. Will, for anybody listening that would like to learn more about Willpower Athletes or how to get in contact with you, do you guys have a web address or where can we send people?
Yeah, you can send people to www.will, power, POWER, athletes, ATHLETES.com. So www.willpowerathletes.com. And also we have a contact box on the landing page. So if you want further information, please feel free to reach out and I'll definitely contact you as soon as possible.
Terrific. So definitely check out Willpower Athletes, guys. Will, if you ran into somebody today who was just starting out, on their wellness journey or their fitness journey, what advice would you give them starting out, coming off that couch?
Well, first of all, my first advice is go into it slow. Um, Understand what you really, really want to achieve, and reach out to a coach as far as somebody who can give you different information as far as whatever goal, whether it's a 5K or 10K or half marathon. But I think by the most important thing to do first is start. So it's almost like when I'm preparing to run in the morning, right? The hard thing is getting out of the bed. So once you make that decision to say, uh, I'm going to contact Willpower Athlete, or either I'm going to contact Catch a Lift, or either whichever organization that you're going to contact. You just have to make the decision. And um, our job in Willpower Athletes, we will make that contact as far as, okay, these are the things that you should look toward, or give you additional resources to help you achieve your goal. But the most important thing is saying, hey, I'm going to do something. And that's the most important thing.
Will, talk to me about how you found Catch a Lift and kind of about your time within the program.
So how I found Catch a Lift is I was researching after I got out of the military something to incorporate with my running. And when I went in and I saw all the different opportunities as far as meeting with veterans, joining gym memberships, I was like, wow, is this really real?
Yeah.
So, and then I contacted somebody, kind of like I was saying, you contact Willpower for whatever resources, because the most important thing in front of us today is you have to use your resources to help you be able to get to the next level. So once I found out it was a gym in place and I reached out to the point of contact, I started incorporating, you know, Catch a Lift into everything I was doing. And they sent me a T-shirt. Oh my gosh! If you haven't had a chance, the opportunity to go on Catch a Lift website, they provide you with different T-shirts. I think I got a magnet, a sticker, and I was able to meet other people who were in the military. And I was surprised how many people didn't know about Catch a Lift. So I went out and I started telling everybody about it. Do you know about Catch a Lift? And we went into details, and I also sent a couple people there, and they reach out to me now, and I think they're still in the program. And it was able to help me with that connection too, because even though I'm out of the military, sometimes I need to talk to somebody in the military.
Oh yeah,
as far
for
as
sure.
when I'm working on another job, I said, do you understand this? Why do
Yeah.
they do this? Because we're big on structure, organization, and processes. But Catch a Lift has helped me tremendously as far as one of the reasons to help me be able to create willpower, because I looked at the I think the most important thing in any organization is the mission or vision. And when I looked at that mission or vision, I was like, oh my gosh, this is something really good. And if you're down in the dumps, or if you're in the trenches, or it could be anything, because when you're working out, it helps the mental capacity too. So it's very important when you're working out that you connect to somebody, and with stress too. So I think I recently had got out of the military, and I was trying to understand this job. And when I got that gym membership, it helped me with my stress and everything. But it has helped me to the point where I can't describe as far as what I really want to say. But all I can say, I'm really thankful, and I'm glad I found it, because a lot of people don't know about it. And if you don't know about it, you need to definitely research catch a
Yeah.
lift.
Thank you, Will. I've got one last kind of question here to kind of piggyback off that last one for you. What does it mean to you to be a Catch a Lift Fund veteran athlete?
It means the world to me, and like I say, I'm honored, and I don't take anything for granted. I think everything happened for a reason, and I think this podcast, as far as everything aligning up, and I always tell people, or either the kids I mentor, if you do the right thing, everything else will line up for you. But I'm just thankful and I'm appreciative to just be here today.
Well, we are so glad to have hosted you today, Will, and thank you again so much for your service to our great country. Absolutely tremendous. And everybody go check out Willpower Athletes too and show Will some love with that. That is it for this week's episode of Coach's Corner. We'll return next Wednesday at 1 Eastern Time with another new episode. Thank you again, Will, for sharing your story and your light with us all today. Thank you, ClearBridge, for all your support of all things Catch a Lift. A huge thank you to Lynn Coughlin, Henry Pomper, Kaylee Nasiri for all the work you do to make this podcast possible week after week. And thank you to the entire Cal team. And until next week, keep it real and stay Cal strong.
Thank you, everybody.